Hi, this is Cristina Dam, and this is Liberate the Podcast, where we educate, motivate, inspire, and liberate your consciousness. So today we have a very special guest on. She's a personal friend. I look at her as a mentor. She's helped guide me in a few different ways of my life and put me on a deeper spiritual path. She's not only, she wouldn't call herself a guru, but I say she's a guru in health and wellness, but also she's had the blessing and the experience of actually traveling the world and experiencing the teachings of some of the highest level disciples and masters from around the world. She has such a wealth of knowledge and really spends her life living those teachings. And so I'm excited. We're going to do an inner alchemy class here. And so we're going to talk a little bit about inner alchemy, but also touching upon a whole bunch of different things. Because as I said, she has so much wisdom to share. So I think we're going to have her on a couple times. So welcome, Rainbeau Mars.
Hey, yay. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
So excited to be here and chilling with our casual feet up on the chair.
Casual. You got to be casual. Yeah. It's all about, spirituality doesn't have to be so, like it can be relaxed and easygoing. So, Rainbeau, I want everybody to hear a little bit about you, just in case they don't know who you are. I mean, you do have a mark where a lot of people do know you, but for those that don't, can you share a little bit?
Well, I like to start with telling people that it is my real name, in case you were wondering. My mom was already planning to name me Rainbow, and then she questioned it a couple weeks before I was born, but in the middle of the Ozarks of Missouri, during a thunderstorm, after I was born, there was a double rainbow in the sky, so she was like, okay, it's meant to happen. So she is a master herbalist, so I was raised as the guinea pig of a author of 17 books. She didn't have 17 books when I was born. I think I was probably the discovery, me and my sister, in some of these realms, but she writes on natural medicine. I went in Boulder, Colorado is where I grew up, and then I also lived with my godmother in Hawaii, whose teacher was actually Gandhi's Ayurvedic doctor.
Wow.
And I spent summers with her, and then I moved there for high school, and I didn't know, as I was like in cheerleading and not really interested in yoga, how this basic philosophy 101 would be planting seeds that would later sort of, awaken into a career that I did not choose. But she'd be traveling around the islands teaching people about essential oils, and people would come and live with us with cancer and tumors and, heal through working from within. And so, a lot of this natural medicine, you don't necessarily, I didn't know that I was raised any differently than other people.
Yeah.
And so when
it was all that you knew.
Yeah,
people come into our house and we do these tinctures and potions.
Yeah, and essential oils and kalimas, and you clean from the inside. Don't you know how to do that? And so moving to Hollywood as an actress, because I wasn't trying to be you're not trying to be study natural medicine when that's what your parents are already doing.
Yeah, no, you try to, do something different.
Exactly. So, and I actually had to ground the knowledge that I was raised around. I didn't necessarily walk the talk whatsoever, but in the midst of the chaos, found yoga, went with different diets until I found one that kind of really worked. As I consider myself a flexitarian now. Do what makes me more flexible, but in essence,
I like that.
Yeah, became a go-to person for a lot of other people that were like, "What do you do for a yeast infection? A this, a that, a zit, a breakup? You name it." And with natural medicine or holistic, we're looking at the whole person. And then in that, I think I just started to even study my own things even deeper, because as a yogi, I really started out as an actress, but became really passionate about yoga because I was seeing the benefits of it kind of like helping me fall more deeply in love with myself. But I still had anger and I still had a lot of pride. I still do have, not trying to say that I don't have any, but I started to realize that putting my feet behind my head and doing all those crazy asanas didn't really crack open my heart. And so now I've been studying like how to transform my heart. So I feel always at the beginning stages of anything that I'm learning. But also sharing and serving is the way that we also learn. Yeah. So I feel really blessed that the giving is receiving.
The teacher becomes the student,
yes.
And vice versa, right? So talk to me a little bit about cracking your heart open, you know? Because I think a lot of people, at least it's in my belief, that getting to that core of self-acceptance and love for the self is one of the biggest challenges of people's lives, but it's also, if we can crack into that and dive into that, that's what gives people the most freedom. And is a recipe to honestly save the world. I mean, you don't see people that love their self being angry at other people.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, you know, the first thing I think of, you know, if you want to know your past, look at your face. If you want to know your future, look at your thoughts. There's a lot out there to study right now with the mind transformation, meditation, and even reading and knowledge. But we know that the mind isn't truly the master of everything, right? There's these religions based on love, and the ones that have actually mastered love, the Dalai Lama, Mother Teresa, Jesus Christ, Krishna, Gandhi, you know, the ones that we just know were famous for love, even Rumi, you know, that they helped stabilize a lot of people. And that's where I think you can almost base someone's mastery on how much you were able to give and love. And so, you know, it's really something to comprehend. And how do we do that? I mean, this is why this class is about inner alchemy. I have been, I feel that, well, where do I start? The heart, there's 3 altars of the body. There's the sexual altar, actually, and there's the altar of the heart, and there's the altar of the mind. And we want to activate all 3 of them. And in this Western world, in this fast-paced environment, we're often depleting all 3 of these, where our mind is overactive, we're drinking coffee, it becomes like a gateway for the ego. Our hearts become more and more guarded as we live in life, more and more baggage, more and more victimhood. We're not living based on love like how we did when we were these brand new spring flowers as young, you know, loves. When you first knew how to love, it's like, oh, love hurts, love creates pain, as opposed to like forgive and forget and start anew, like the past no longer exists. And then what happens finally, when our creative energy dies, when our sexual energy dies, we die. I mean, what's the common biggest drug in the world is Viagra. It's what do people do? They lose their hair. We have tons of cancers, colon cancers, prostate cancers. And so from the perspective that I have been really grateful to be learning, sexual alchemy, sexuality has to do with our creation, our creative energy. And so we can do something even beyond a yoga pose where you're putting your feet behind your head and use this inner body temple to transform the heart. And this happens because through the merits of the heart, through our thoughts, deeds, and actions in virtue and righteousness, we can actually transform ourselves. How do we transform ourselves? Well, part of it is being in the world. It's like having something to bump up against. So you might be, you know, living on a couch, watching TV, watching this podcast, and thinking we're going to change you. The truth is no one can change you. We can only change ourselves. That starts with that. But through looking within and having some guidance, we can actually tranquilly observe that which is in the way of unconditional love, that which is in the way of love. Yeah. Have I mastered unconditional love? Absolutely not. But am I transforming and learning about love? This is part of, as I get my shoulder back, the asanas are helpful to kind of put yourself...
and you touched the heart on your sweater.
Oh, there happens to be a heart here. So if we can transform our hearts, we can transform our minds permanently. And so this is the process of inner alchemy. So what we want to do is find ways to connect. The biggest journey any of us will ever take is not to the Himalayas or to India or to Peru. It's 34 centimeters from our head to our hearts. If we can literally learn how to melt. I don't want to give it all away.
I love that, 34 centimeters. I mean, when you really put it into that perspective, you know, like, people feel like they have to go far and wide around the world and travel to, you know, and that's where the saying, wherever you go, there you are. You know? And it's not the outside world that's going to affect your internal self. You have to change from the inside out. And tapping into that heart center and looking at it in such simplicity of 34 centimeters. I just have to say, like, I mean, that's like, wow, you know?
I know. I mean, and I love the beauty of we should even rename aging. I consider myself ageless and eternal, but it's like the wisdom that we gain. It's like, I don't know about you. It's like we all have, the Buddhists say we have 84,000 egos, right? And so and in Hollywood, 84,000. So in Hollywood, we probably have more. In Beverly Hills, anything that's like feeding your ego, really, it's like, oh, we're actually in love with our pride and our vanity and our like little things. And it takes a lot. Like in a way, we have a better opportunity to kind of just be humble if we're not around sort of the ability to hide from that which is really real, like that which a lot of people are being exposed to on this planet right now is a lot of adversity, is a lot of suffering. Therefore, it is our responsibility, if we have any comfort at all, to transform ourselves, like so that we can give back. But the process of that starts with like, rather than thinking it's outside, it's about flying here, flying there, having this person fix us. We get to have tools that allow us to go within. So starting with practices, for instance, I don't want to give everything I share in Inner Alchemy, but we'll teach sublimation breath, which has to do with what the Egyptians share. There's a lot of the hooks or the ankhs on the hieroglyphs when you go through the beautiful temples of ancient Egypt. I've been to Khajuraho, which is the Indian temples of the sacred tantric temples, and you don't need to be with a partner to practice the inner alchemy of within, where you are using your sexual energy, your creative energy. Let's just call it creative energy, because I think sexuality becomes like, what are you going to be doing in that class?
Yeah.
But to actually awaken, we have 33 vertebrae, and each of the vertebrae is considered like a temple. And if we can learn to awaken that energy and bring it up through movement, through meditation, through consistency, through sublimation, then we can ultimately observe that which is in the way of an open heart. So you might want to have an open heart. We all want to have laughter and peace and bliss.
Joy
and then what happens? Resentment comes along. Judgment comes along.
Fear
Comes along. So I don't know if we'll teach it in this particular workshop, but one of my favorite things to do is to find any trigger that I experience in the outside world, which happens as soon as we leave our couch into the world. You get in a car and someone honks on you, and it's like, here's an opportunity. You're at the mail place, and there's a line. Here's an opportunity to practice patience. So each of these things, if you're triggered with impatience, is an opportunity to say, okay, that exists within me. So through kind of seeing things for what they are, honesty, we can then tranquilly observe and even analyze, and finally comprehend. And when we can comprehend that dis-ease, that thing that is in the way of our heart and our love, it can actually be removed and ultimately be replaced with a virtue. So impatience can be transmuted into patience, and anger can be transmuted into love, and pride can be transmuted into love, and jealousy can be transmuted into compassion, and so on and so on. Sloth can be transmuted into diligence, and greed can be transmuted into charity. These are just some of the basic things, that all the scholars have written about. But anyone who actually did the work, took the time, they did some practices to do the work. So in Inner Alchemy, to finalize this, and I like what you said, the answer is always closer to within than we thought. There's a lot of things keeping us out of our heart. There's a lot of excuses to go here and go there. But to take the time to balance out, in yoga we call it the Ida and the Pingala, the left channel, the right, the feminine and the masculine channel, through these sort of using the energy to, let's say, awaken it upward, we can then have a more balanced Sushumna, which means ray of light, and it exists at the center of our spinal column. The spinal column, as we know, if we sever one piece, we're paralyzed. Yeah. So this is the most important thing. We could have a deeper understanding of our inner organs. Some yogis are practicing from a point of the foot behind the head, or trying to get tighter abs right now, or the perfect handstand. But what I find that is really interesting is what's in the fire, the inner elements, where they say the wheels or the chakras exist. And then ultimately through, continued practice and diligence and I want to say, virtue, cultivating more virtue, we can transform our hearts. Hopefully, to find that special person or reflection or hologram of ourselves, we have worked on ourselves to a point that person because whoever is going to come into our life is going to be a matching picture. So you don't want to just rush into a relationship to have someone fix you.
I say that all the time to clients. It's like people will be, longing or really wanting to draw in a relationship in their life, and yet they're working with me on like transforming their life and trying to become somebody different. It's like, well, you don't want to attract somebody right now because that vibration of which you're emanating is what you will attract, right? And so it's knowing that it's okay to be single. It's okay to work on yourself too, kind of. And then once that holographic image comes, it's what is there for you,
Yeah, I mean, basic yoga 101 that I was learning as a cheerleader at Molokai High, my godmother would be like, well, if you don't like something about someone else, it's because it's within you. And if you do like something about someone else, it's within us, right? So it's basic stuff. And how do we change ourselves?
Yeah.
And so we're looking outside as you mentioned, but if you want to make a difference in your sport or the world, we start with going back into our practice, and our practice is affected by what you do in the kitchen. We probably won't talk so much about food there, but that's what we have a cleanse coming up for.
Yeah, but that's what I wanted to talk about
but
too.
Let me finish that one sentence. So what we do in our kitchen affects what we do in our bedroom, our bathroom, our home, and our garden, and that is what affects what we do in our life, our sport, and our world. So we can literally change the world by changing ourselves, and you don't even have to go too far, but if you are in Hollywood, come to Liberate Hollywood and let's learn together.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, online and, through this and some of the classes, and we'll be doing a lot of the things that we do on a streaming platform as well, so it can give access more. But it's important to acknowledge that of the importance of cleansing too. And that everything, a microcosm is a macrocosm, right?
Yes.
You can't, if you change one thing, you change everything, but also where does that lie? And, I know personally, and because of you actually starting me out like a year ago, I was in a bad shape, and Rainbow's like, okay, you need to start doing these oils and doing and taking care of yourself. And I got on all of these vitamins, and I started taking all the essential oils, and then it spiraled me into doing a juice cleanse. That spiraled me into doing the celery juice. That spiraled me into doing a metal detox and a liver detox. And as I keep on cleansing myself, I feel how much the gunk coming out, everything is clearer, and things in the world shift much easier too. And it's easier to love myself. It's easier to have relationships, intimate or friendship-wise. It's easier to do everything, right? And so, I need to give you those kudos because you started me out on all that, but I want you to share with people the importance of cleansing.
Yeah, sometimes the first thing people think of is like cleanse, oh my God, restriction. And it's just like our home. It's like there's more, if you don't make room for the new, then you're too blocked to even enjoy the new. Or like the past baggage, the old relationship, the things that have caught our, have our doors closed because we haven't really forgotten and forgiven. So what we want to do is to start wherever you're at. There's always a beginner's, intermediate, and advanced level. The program that we share used to be called like your fresh start or because it wasn't really about cleansing, but it is a cleanse, because to take a break from environmental toxins as much as we can, from food toxins, from emotional toxins, and to eat really beautiful, nourishing foods, to count your colors instead of calories. I like to say 0 calorie restriction.
Oh, I love that. Count your colors.
Yeah, count your calories. Eat your sweets first, actually, to food combine correctly, to actually revitalize and nourish, and avoid the fried, processed, chemicalized things, because that's not what we want our cells to be rejuvenating with, because we know that every 90 days, actually, it takes our blood completely turns over. In 7 years, every single cell of our body is renewed. So what we're doing now will create a manifestation in the next 7 years, but let's begin now to focus on what will happen in in 3 months. And if you think, oh, that takes too long, I mean, even our program is 21 days only. 3 weeks is not a long time it takes 21 days to make or break a pattern. They know that in any course work. So us to feel what it's like to have increased energy, to have more glowing skin, to need less sleep, to feel like your creative juices kind of just start to awaken, to feel like I just notice it because once again, that feedback is helpful. Like when you get out of the couch into the world, you're walking through the grocery store and you just notice people kind of look at you differently because you have more life, more light, more energy, more color. Mm-hmm. And how to explain that? It all starts here. And it does, though, we live in this incredible environment called Mother Earth, and there's all these blessings of nature. She has a way to teach us what to eat a lot of, and like there's a lot of greens and you can access them without digging them up or climbing on the top of a tree. So she's like, eat me a lot. Yeah. And at the same time, we want the phytonutrients that there are catalysts to all the major functions in our bodies, the chlorophyll, the beta carotene, the anthocyanins, like all of those things are why we see in color. And it's not Skittles that we need. The colors are so that we see.
It's not Skittles
and so, yeah, so it's really just taking a break from things where you're in it, and it makes a difference. Oh, a lot of people say, I eat clean or I eat healthy. It makes a difference to deep dive inside and to say, okay, for the next 21 days, I'm going to love myself enough. We're calling this the summer of self-love, as well as to restore our bodies, to reset our vibe, to really kind of, take that time to say, you know what, I'm committed to like not watching junk TV during this time, to reading and going to classes that are inspirational, to reviving myself, to study, because it's like, it doesn't matter how many times we've done this.
Your cleanse isn't just about what you consume. Mm-hmm. Your cleanse is about the totality of your life. Like that's what even sets us on like the next benchmark. It's like, okay, we're not watching toxic TV. Yeah. We're nourishing our soul. We're cutting out toxic relationships. Like this is amazing.
Yeah, I mean the food is great, and what's so beautiful is what is good for us is also what's good for our planet. And the beauty is like we can actually do this this program for completely free this time if you get an account, or not even an account, get a kit with natural medicine like the ones that you took, because we want these things to work. We want people to not thinking about restriction, but ingesting Mother Nature. Yeah. And the supplements you started taking, that has 14 servings of fruits and vegetables. There's things like their nettles, milk thistle, and dandelion, which are the wild edible plants that we're often pulling out by the roots and trying to spray. These are the best diuretics, blood cleaners. They rejuvenate our liver and kidneys and reset us back. My mom has a whole thing of like, get off your grass, meaning like we should be growing our wild edible plants, but most of us are not. So I'm not here to get paid. I mean, I love Mother Earth. Like if I can do whatever I do, my most health is my highest wealth. So if I can just serve humanity by creating things that inspire my heart, but I would love to see our oceans not turn into acid and our bees survive. Yes. So like I just want as many people to like awaken to the blessings and that is our birthright.
And that, that all starts, and that's like a necessity. It's like, it's a call to action. We have to make some changes, otherwise our oceans are becoming more acidic, and at a massive increase annually. Yeah. Not over 10-year span, annually from 1 year to the next, they're becoming more acidic. Mm-hmm. The coral reefs are dying. We need a change. Yeah. Not to mention the 7 oceans of plastic that exist right now.
Yeah, right? And just like were you were going to say something else? No. Yeah, and just it's the answer is right here, right now. It begins with us. We are the ones we've been waiting for. If not us, then who? If not now, then when? I've got people like Moby coming on, or Shannon Elizabeth, or who else? We've got Nicole Dershway, Kevin Paris, all these wonderful artists. This particular cleanse that we're going to be interviewing, and about environmental awareness. Yes, the cleanse is, or this refresh is not eating animals during this time. Some people feel like they need to exist on animals. Factory farming is one of the biggest contributors to our the basically the carbon in the air, which is what's turning the ocean to acid. So if we can learn ways to eat lower on the food chain, even if it's for 21 days, and again, it's a beginner's, intermediate, advanced level. Even if the first time you do it beginners and you kind of, have some cheat weeks, at least it's a start. I like to try to do the advanced. That's how I see the greatest results. But I don't know, I'm thinking of this testimonial where this girl said, I tried to change my hair color, I tried to change my clothes, I tried to lose the weight. Doing your program was the first time people couldn't recognize me. Like, I became a new person. And it's the quickest pill that I know to actually watch ourselves transform, and therefore the world, and taking responsibility and thinking about what we're eating, what we're doing, what we're cooking, who we're supporting for that process. And together, we're all better together. So having a support group is powerful. Before, I learned a version of this program from Dr. DeAndrea, who created the 21-day detox with a partner, John Wood, who had healed from 4th stage cancer in the same modality. If you go to any of the sort of holistic healing centers that are about eradicating disease, it's always live foods, it's always internal cleansing. Through my godmother, I learned Ayurveda and natural medicine. So we incorporate all of these things for preventative medicine, but at the same time, you can take it at whatever level you are. We're really hoping to inspire the creative artist to awaken their dreams, to whatever that plan that you have, to put that into action and go for it.
Where can people sign up? When does it start?
You're excited to do it. You guys are invited. So where can we sign up? It's on our website, rainbowmars.com/maybe cleanse.
I'll make sure I'll put the URL down.
Cleanse. So to be able to get a kit where you can use either the supplements or take oils, the Mother Nature has an intelligence, even if your doctor might have not learned nutrition. Like, doctors are great for
most doctors.
I know. I'm just saying it's one elective class.
Yeah, it's an
they might have though.
8 hours. I mean, there's some of them that take the but in order to become qualified as an MD, it's 8 hours.
Yeah.
So I mean,
but I think it's elective. I'm pretty sure it's elective.
Yeah.
Dr. Andrew says it's elective. It's 1 8-hour elective. But go on. But what's exciting to know?
It's just horrible to me. I'm sorry, and there's probably some doctors that are watching this, and I hope that you think it's.
We love doctors.
I hope you think that it's horrible too, especially since what we eat creates our body to function, and it is our gasoline, like a car's gasoline, but yet it's the least studied thing. And you know what I'm saying?
Well, first of all, broken bones, best thing ever. And also there is a lot in science where we have really evolved. Like, there are people
I meant with food.
I'm just giving the plug out to all the medical doctors out there that I also see doctors for those things. But in most of the world, for healing, we're always going to go to the root of what created the disease rather than just treat the symptom. And that's always starting with what you're eating and drinking first, and then it goes to plants, like maybe herbal teas, supplements, plant medicine like essential oils are maybe even stronger, because 1 drop of peppermint, for instance, is equal to 50 cups of tea. So it's just like stronger antibacterial, antioxidant, preventative to things that are out of alignment. But what I wanted to say is that Mother Nature is the greatest healer, because she has an intelligence that even if we don't know what is the root of our unalignment, she goes in there and is able to disrupt or uproot things that are maybe what is causing other blockages in our life. So I kind of just wanted to circle this around and to the house analogy and say, if you don't want to wait till a guest is going to come tomorrow to start cleaning your house. You clean your house to make room to invite someone over, right? Yeah. So if you're wanting to create that alchemy where you're transforming to bring more light, bring more life, more love into yourself, start by preparing yourself with self-love so that you can invite someone over to your house. I don't know. And so if you want true love, of course, look in the mirror, and then ultimately whoever that reflection will be of yours will be at the vibration that you hold. And with the inner alchemy class, you don't have to, I already said this again, but this is just about more of the, I would say, esoteric ways to, honestly, they're my greatest beauty secrets that I know. And it's really, I want to just thank you, Cristina, for allowing me to have a platform to share this, because it's not, when you want to learn something really great, you do start sharing it. But everything that we learn, they say, it takes 7 years to like master and a new thing. And so it's easy. It was easy. I never also wanted to teach yoga. People are like, can you, I'm like, I'm not a teacher. Ask those people. I was asked by 10 different companies to do videos before I was like, okay, Hawaii, no problem. I want to go to Hawaii. But I was like, no, I never thought of myself as a teacher, but I did know down dog maybe a little more than someone else. And it's the same thing with inner alchemy through awakening the Kundalini. Like, have I awakened my Kundalini? No, but have I seen the benefits and results and more peace and more transformation, and have I watched my life around me revolve? Am I getting younger as I'm getting older? Yes, to all of those things. So I have, as I practice and as I share these beautiful inner things that to me at this point they're more important than my yoga practice. And even, do I want to say food? I don't know. Food and water kind of come there, but it's like these are fundamental practices that actually transform our being. And so that's why I'm so excited that you've like said, come and teach that here. So
yeah, I love that. And back on the cleanse, just because we kind of deviated a minute. When does that start?
Oh, June 2nd is our virtual one. So you can do it from anywhere in the world. We provide you with weekly manuals, shopping lists, daily inspirations, access to all of our interviews, and what else? All sorts of recipes, goes on and on. I mean, I don't know. I remember when I really had, it was the face of Adidas. If no one knows, I went to 35 countries in 3 years. And I remember kind of having reached the top of what you can do as far as teaching yoga. Because 3,500 people in a room and everyone, it's like, that's kind of fun to go back to teaching a few people down dog at a studio wasn't necessarily my thing. And I thought, how are we going to save ourselves and the planet at the same time? If we could get 1,000 people doing this cleanse 4 times a year and more, and then more people
so that's
trickling.
How often you do it? 4 times a year?
That would be, it's not reached 1,000 yet. One time we reached 180, but
let's try to get 1,000. Come on, let's go. Let's share this with everybody. Let's all get healthy together. I mean, you're gonna feel better, look better. You're gonna glow like that client or that person that said that she finally changed, and that's what it's all about. I mean, people start to look differently when their insides are different, and so why wait for the rest of your life to have the best of your life, right?
Yeah, and there's something so close to my heart because a lot of people, I'm realizing more, are raised not in a natural medicine environment, and it's like, oh, my doctor's going to help my heart condition, and it's like, well, ultimately, even the doctor would say, like, what are you eating? Like, only you can kind of help your heart condition. Only we can create our health, and it doesn't mean you need to be a vegan or a health radical, but whatever it is that you're passionate about, whatever it is that is your heart, I just, healing and art come together as heart. And if we want, that is the center, that our health is our wealth. And I don't know why we wait until we've sacrificed that to then claim it back and spend our money to claim it back. Like, start now, preventative medicine, get your health on. It's only going to help you do whatever you do better.
And like Rainbow, like you're saying, it's, 21 days to make a new habit, right? And so these 3 weeks and doing it in a support group, and if it's not this cleanse this time, or if you're listening to this and June 2nd has already passed, look on Rainbow's website and see, because it's 4 times a year, and jump on board on the next one.
And we have a book and an ebook. You can do it by yourself or with a partner anytime.
So buy the book, and do it on your own, and start at any time without, having the support group. But at the end of it, like, when every person that I know that starts to take care more of their self, they start to look at food differently. And they get excited about eating the squash blossoms when they come into season, or the different things, and like the variety and the colors. And those foods that nourish our body most are the ones that people are wanting to pick out.
Totally.
Right?
And I feel like we've been debunked, like, eat more fats, eat more salt. Healthy fats, avocado and raw olive oil, healthy salt, Celtic salt, you need the 98 minerals for your body to function. Your brain needs the fat to function. But maybe take a break from things that are, do you want to feel live, fresh, colorful, awake, and, living? I guess I said alive and living, but radiant enzyme. We eat a lot of enzymes in this program, which means the spark of life, as opposed to, people literally describe it describe themselves as I feel toasted, baked, fried, microwaved, whatever.
I don't want to feel toasted and baked.
Right? So we are what we eat. And it's interesting how we're careful, right? A little bit who we kiss, I hope. But when we're eating a food, it's going to we're going to put it in our mouth, we're going to digest it. It's going to stay with us until we eliminate it. So I hope we're also careful about that. So it's just about bringing more consciousness. And the more times we practice consciousness, the more our consciousness awakens. And I said it before, but I'm going to say it again, that what is good for the planet is what's good for us. So it's a win-win for all of us. It's like a global, you want to change the climate, start within. It's we get to do this.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Rainbow.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Anything else that you would like to leave people with? Besides your website, any other place for them to be able to find you?
Well, I'll be here next Saturday at Liberate Hollywood for Inner Alchemy. We have the website, the book, the ebook, tons of yoga videos online, and at any time we guide people with their health through these incredible gifts of the earth that we're working with, a completely unadulterated source of plant medicine that can show up on your doorstep so you can start to really receive a daily dose of life and light. And so, all of that is pretty much on the website, but we really look forward to guiding whoever is inspired to have us support you in us making the change from within.
I love that. Thank you. And thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this conversation, like it, subscribe, and share it with your friends. If you want some more amazing resources on your path of liberation, head over to liberateyourself.com and sign up for our mailing list. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram at Liberate Hollywood, all one word, or Liberate Emporium, all one word. Until next time, liberate yourself.